Fellow nerds, we are talking What If Season 2. We got 9 episodes the last 9 days on Disney Plus, and we have thoughts. And it sounds like the chat is already jumping in on it.
It's because that's what I was talking about when you guys left, and it was just me. I was babbling on about it.
Because we did
But
get
who?
What If Nebula joined the Nova Corps, which, a good idea, but it was one of those things where it could have been a good mystery if they had any time to explain it, but it just went
Yeah.
here, 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 done.
Hmm.
Kind of wasted. Peter Quill attacked Earth's mightiest heroes.
I liked that one.
That was a pretty good episode. I liked it. Happy Hogan
I thought-
Saved Christmas.
Eh,
Might have been my favorite one. It had the Die
Really?
Hard stuff. I just thought it was kind of funny that they were, for one, we got God, what's her name in it too, as an intern.
yeah, yeah.
And
It,
I was like,
it made me think of the Die Hard episode of Rick and Morty.
and that's, it was kind of just ripping that off. And I found it rather funny. I liked John Favreau in it.
Hmm.
And then, what if Iron Man crashed into the Grandmaster?
I liked that one.
Me
That was-
too.
That was good.
Captain Carter fought the Hydra Stomper. I thought it was good. Kahori reshaped the world. I thought was good. I kind
I
of
liked
like
that.
that the What If went a little outside of just a different character taking a place and doing the same thing. Kind of had its own little story. What if Hela found the 10 rings?
That was really good. That was probably one of my favorites.
I think that might have been the best episode of the season. What if the Avengers assembled in 1602? And then what if Strange Supreme intervened? And I know that the chat is getting uppity because they were a lot of female character focused and making up a new character. But it's okay to have female characters. This isn't a shot at male characters.
I guess I
think-
didn't realize that.
Well, like they said, Peter Quill was the main character of that show.
Yeah.
And
Tony
Happy
Stark
on-
was the main character of the one. Happy Hogan was one.
Hmm.
I mean, a lot of times we hear anytime a female character is the main character, people get uppity sometimes. And, 90% of movies and TV have male leads. So it doesn't bother me. I don't mind a female lead.
The fact that like most of these characters that we saw, Kaori being like the exception, most of these characters we already knew who they were, and they're already main characters in these major movies. So, like the fact that the first one had Nebula, fine with me. That's cool.
I've always been, if you have a good story, then just tell your good story.
Yep. Exactly.
I mean, look at
I-
Alien. What's her name? Somebody, was it Jennifer Lawrence, said that she was the first female lead in an action movie. I'm like,
Oh.
wait. Let's go back a few years. We can. I mean, I'm sure there was more before it, but
Mhm.
Ripley, come on, Ripley from Alien. That was in 1978. Pay attention. If they have good stories, it's going to be a good movie. It doesn't matter to me. I mean, there's slight differences, obviously, between a male lead and a female lead, but you can write them the same with a few different quirks, and it's
Mhm.
still going to be a relatable character.
And hey, welcome to the chat, Real Bad Brad. Nice to have you. And yeah, I do like the animation style here. And
Yeah.
I guess the fact that it is apparent to what they are doing, Sierra, they're giving female leads.
She likes female leads, just don't get her wrong. I think there's more to that. Oh, there it is.
It just
So-
seems
It
less
seems less
diverse for
diverse.
this season. I guess
So-
I'm not really fully understanding what you're saying here. Seems less diverse for this season?
She's saying it's becoming more and more female leads.
Well,
I think-
and I mean, Captain Carter has been like the Steve Rogers of this what if sort of thing. She carries that. I mean, I guess it's just, subjective in a way. I don't mind the female leads. I even really enjoyed Lake Bell as Natasha Romanoff. I don't know if you guys in the, Captain Carter fights
I
the
knew she
Hydra
was Lake
Stomper.
Bell.
She does a great job as the Black Widow.
And you
But
know,
like seeing it, the story made sense with how they did it. I thought it was better than what we got in the Black Widow movie.
Ugh,
How they
yeah.
kind of tricked, used the Hydra Stomper, tricked, used that pulled on the heartstrings for Captain Carter to
Mm-hmm.
trick her into going there, and then we see the floating red room, which no one has ever caught on any radar or anything else.
Did you see this week that report about like they're moving on from Vin Diesel as doing Groot because um, like he wasn't doing a voice on this What If series? You didn't see that article this week?
No, no, I didn't. So they're not
Mm-hmm.
going to have Vin Diesel voice Groot in the.
In the upcoming Groot series, season 2? No, I think they are, and that's the thing. With that report, you see all the comments. Like the people have been replaced. This is my point. The people that the are being replaced with voice actors. Some of them are on the What If series. It doesn't mean they're losing their parts in the major roles. Like Brie Larson didn't do anything for the What If series. That doesn't mean she's not Captain Marvel anymore. So that doesn't
Mm-hmm.
mean he's not Groot anymore either.
So someone
Here's
I
why.
get it now. Someone wrote the article saying he was out because he didn't do it, but
Yes.
Here's why I'm not bothered by that. And this goes back to something that we've talked about before. There's a difference between actors and voice actors. If the actor happens to also be a decent voice actor, by all means, fill the role. We'll recognize it if you've got good direction, if you've got a good voice direction going on, to where you can tell the inflection that should be made, how you should be sounding, what sort of take we need during this, what's actually happening. Because when you're in a sound booth, you don't see the actual final animation, so you have to do your best to. Yeah, somebody has to direct you to know how to say something, so it fits with what's going to be on the screen, and that can be a lot harder to do sometimes than when you're acting in a movie and when you've seen the script and you know what's going to be happening on the set around you. So I would prefer, if the actual actor isn't a good fit for being a voice actor, then I'd prefer a professional voice actor. One of the one of the things that I took issue with the Mario movie, the Super Mario movie that came out, what was that, last year or earlier this year?
you better not be bad mouthing Chris Pratt, our
I'm
soon to
not
be
bad mouthing Chris Pratt.
Kang in the MCU.
I'm not bad mouthing Chris Pratt. I'm bringing up what's his name, who played Bowser.
Oh,
Why
Jack
is his name?
Black.
Jack Black. What Jack Black actually said. So they had asked him if he would play the role of Bowser, and he said, "Well, sure, but like I'm just gonna be, myself, and I have to be able to sing." And then when they asked Seth Rogen to be the voice of Donkey Kong, he said basically the same thing. Yeah, as long as I can just sound like myself, you guys are cool. If I'm gonna do my laugh, I'm gonna be Seth Rogen. Yeah, sure, whatever. Because a lot of these big studios, they want to attach a big name to it rather
Mhm.
than getting somebody who's professionally trained to do that job.
Yeah.
No, that is true.
So if you have a voice actor and they happen to just do a better job at being a voice actor for this role, by all means, let it happen. I am so cool with it. I'd rather it sound correct because you know what you're doing in a sound booth than you saying, well, we got Chris Pratt to come back and play, uh, you know, Star-Lord because we're used to him being Star-Lord, but he doesn't know how to be in a sound booth.
I would much rather have the more talented person for what needed to be done, what's needed to be done.
Yeah.
And Bad Brad said when an episode costs 12 million to pay AAA list celebrities, the voice and animation, when a voice actor can accomplish the same for 12K, I think it's okay. I don't know if each episode cost 12 million for What If. I've never seen that, but if it is the case, yeah, that's. I mean, it seems like a lot of these guys, like Kate Blanchett, came back to do Hela, which was a nice surprise.
She did a good job.
Chris Hemsworth, Tom Hiddleston, Kat Dennings, John Favreau. A lot of these,
Yeah.
I think they came back and they weren't expecting, like a Robert Downey Jr. payday. They just did it for fun, probably. Hey, little payday, I'll come do my voice. It's a lot like Pedro Pascal, doing The Mandalorian, where it's almost going to be voice work only now. I'm busy, but I can do that voice work. It'll be fun. I'll drop in for a day, drop all my lines, and leave. Or like David Tennant doing the voice of oh my god, I can't remember the Hu Yang, yeah, for
Yang.
Ahsoka, where he did all of his lines well before anything else was filmed for Ahsoka. So yeah, sometimes it makes sense, and I was fine with all the people who didn't come back and do the role. Like they got, was it Josh Keaton to do Steve Rogers? I thought he did a good job. I was kind of shocked that what's his name? God, I can't even. Ant-Man.
Paul Rudd.
Paul Rudd, did the voice for Ant-Man. Haley Atwell obviously did Captain Carter. It's nice when they get the ones back who can do a good job, and it's fine when they have someone else do them too, because
The guy who did Tony Stark, I thought he sounded a lot like Robert Downey Jr.
I think he was trying to.
It's a good job. And another one is that Ross Marquand. He was on Walking Dead, and he was the Red Skull in Infinity War, and he did some voices on this show too. But he didn't I think he did some over. He wasn't a specific person. He just did them over a few different shows because he has more than one voice he can do. Voice acting, like on Rick and Morty. Rick and Morty were the same person. It's not now, but it used to be. All right, I'm gonna go get another drink. I'll be right back.
Okay.
You do that.
One of the things that I'll wait for Dave to get back because I know Dave read this thing, but I think for the most part, none of these were tremendously great episodes, and none of them were terribly bad.
No.
For the most part, they were average, a little above average, right around that point. I do
Were
agree
they
with
better
you.
than Rebel Moon?
I think every episode in this was better than Rebel Moon. But I did really enjoy. I love the fact that they had Hela parallel story to Thor. All of a sudden, her crown is a power source, and she needs to be humble and stuff. And going to Teilao and Wenwu being in it, I thought that worked rather well.
Yeah,
and I really enjoyed that episode, where I see things like the Avengers Assembled in 1602. Now that Dave is back, I wish they would stop using titles from comic series that are great for stuff that's not going to live up to the name. The 1602 series was tremendous.
Right over here.
And I think Neil Gaiman wrote it. Am I wrong in that, Dave? I'm pretty sure Neil Gaiman wrote it. And he did a wonderful job.
Yes.
Yep, Neil Gaiman. Okay. And I mean, if you haven't read that series, it's fantastic. And calling this, it almost, when I saw it, I'm like, oh, okay, this is going to be. And then I was kind of like,
I knew it wasn't going to be that good. To try and fit it in like a 20-minute time frame.
I was just hoping they would maybe hit some of the magic with it, and they didn't. And that's why, like Marvel Studios, I'm begging you right now, please stop naming things in the MCU after great comic runs.
Civil War.
I mean, Civil War was good.
Special
I enjoyed
investigation.
Civil War. But even Age of Ultron, the Age of Ultron movie had nothing to do with the Age of Ultron run in the comics. So you guys are creative. Find something else to call it. Don't use 1602 when you know that's going to mean something to comic fans, and then you're not going to live up to it. Don't call it Secret Invasion when it's merely a special investigation.
Yeah.
I mean, they did that with that, and I was like so hyped, especially after the Hell episode when I saw, oh, what if the Avengers assembled in 1602? This is gonna be, oh man, dang it.
Yeah, it was kind of like, It wasn't the worst thing that I've seen, but
No,
I mean,
no,
it was
not at all.
It didn't really grab me excitement wise. It was kind of another heist movie.
Wait, are you telling me there was no Doctor Doom on that episode?
No.
No, there was no Doctor Doom.
Doom was the main villain.
I know.
No, well, Thor was the kind of the main villain, if you will. Like, it's hard to say that they were trying to do Macbeth, basically. But then they also did a heist. So,
You son of a bitch.
Thor, Hela got sucked into a portal, and we end up finding out why, in the next couple of episodes.
Not Hela, Captain Carter.
No, in the beginning, why Thor took over, because Hela got sucked into a portal.
Oh, in that episode, I thought you meant Captain Carter getting sucked in.
Yeah, no. So in the beginning of this episode, Hela was like the queen. Everybody loved her. And I assume because in several universes, now I don't know if this was the same Hela that was, going around and earned her crown, or if this is just so happened to be another Hela who happened to be good. But everybody loved her. She was great, but then she got sucked into a portal, and everyone was sad and angry, and Thor became the king, and he held the staff, and you know,
Tell me, held on to his staff.
then they blamed Captain Carter for not fixing things. I guess she was supposed to come to the Scarlet Witch brought her to 1602 to fix everything. There was like an incursion happening, and she didn't, so they assumed that she cursed the world. I don't know. Like it didn't. There was no logic to it, and so then they're like, "Oh, we're gonna get her," and then Steve Rogers was Robin Hood, and Loki was there. He was doing a play. Um,
Shakespeare.
yeah, I guess he was essentially Shakespeare. Happy was the sheriff of Nottingham.
Sounds like I would not have enjoyed this episode.
I don't think you
Tony
would have.
Tony was there, and he was the crazy inventor that nobody liked or trusted, and I think he was. And then he
was Doc
created.
Brown?
Yeah, he was basically Doc Brown, and then he created the MacGuffin that saved the day.
But we did get Wanda back. Elizabeth Olsen
yeah.
did the voice.
Yep, Wanda.
But she was
Wanda
only in it for like 2 minutes.
and
If
she did magic. Yeah, it was kind of a episode. Had a couple
Yeah.
of things where I was like, oh, that was kind of neat, but then the rest of it was just like, okay. But yeah, the episode before that with Hela, that was probably one of my favorite episodes. I think that one really stood out. And like what Keith was saying, it mirrored Thor's story. But in a way, it was almost like it was better because there was no Kat Dennings.
Yes, that's true. And the way they weaved it in with the Ten Ring stories and how
Yeah.
that all worked out, and I thought,
And I like that she didn't change right away. Like it took a lot for her to,
I thought in
really
a
change
20-minute
ways.
episode or 25-minute episode that
It
it
was
was
gonna
going to
be
be
like
she's
that.
going to get there and be like, oh, I better change my
I have
ways.
learned my lesson.
But she didn't, and it was nice.
Mhm.
They made the most out of the 25 minutes than
Oh,
any
yeah.
other episode did. Because a lot of these, they always feel a little rushed to me, like they're trying to
Yeah.
get way too much story in or trying to shove
They're
way
just
too
trying
many
to tell a
cameos
real
in this.
quick. To me, these what if episodes, they're the kinds where like a lot of them do have more potential, but too many of them, it's like they were sitting around the writers' room, just sitting on a table. Okay, what if this happened and then this happened? That's the episode. We're done. Next.
Yeah.
And honestly, one of the reasons that, I'm not a big fan of the What If comics, every once in a while they hit on a good one. It's always,
Mm-hmm.
what if Havoc was part of the Weapon X program and not Wolverine? And it's just like Havoc doing Wolverine things, or something silly like that. Or what if the Avengers lost the Kree Skull War, and it's just Earth taken over by Krees or something? It's usually not overly interesting. It's just like juxtapositioning things, and I think that's why I kind of like the Happy Hogan episode, because it was
So out there.
nothing. Yeah, it was just kind of like this goofy little party, and it was silly, and it had some parts that I wasn't a big fan of, but I liked that it was just its own thing, and I think that's why I liked Kahori Reshape the World,
I really liked that one.
because it took, something and it changed everything about it. It really, and how they handled it could have had more time, I think, too, but how they handled, oh, that's the cursed river, you don't go there anymore, and then you really find out that it's
I like
just the
Cursed lake. That looks more like a puddle.
Kirstie Alley.
And then, by the way, I don't
one
want to
thing that
forget
I do
this, so I'm
wanna
going to
note
say it
about
right
that-
now. My favorite
ahead.
line of all 9 episodes
Uh-huh.
was in Captain Carter Fought the Hydra Stomper, when they were facing off against the Black Widows, and she goes, even little girls in Russia look up to Captain Carter after your movie or whatever. And she's like, they made a movie about me? She goes, yeah, it was a musical. And I was like,
Oh no, Rogers the musical. Oh, that's so wrong. But maybe in her universe, Rogers the musical was there, or Carter the musical was actually good.
let's not get crazy.
That's
Sierra
where
did
you
tell me, she said, you give them way too much creative credit, Keith. And that's probably true.
Yeah, it's weird how much better stuff we come up with on even on this channel than they put out into the populace.
Well, I think to Keith's point, the reason why the what if episodes don't always work, like they can be hit or miss, is I think what if ideas, they're more fun to just kind of like toss around and discuss. Like, I think the three of us, if we were to like propose a what if, I think just spitballing and kind of like working through an idea, almost like a little writer session among the three of us, I think that would be more fun than actually watching it, because just kind of like, well, what if Ultron, got a hold of the Infinity Stones, and we talked about like, oh, what would this ultimate perfect machine do with them? Would he be able to work out where Thanos went wrong? Things like that. So it'd be more fun to kind of like discuss the what if about it, rather than watching it on screen and having like 20 minutes to do it.
And honestly, I wish we've talked about this before, and I know Attack on Show has talked about it at times too. I would much rather have them use their talent and their teams and their time to create something along the lines of a Clone Wars or Rebels, where it's filling in gaps in time in the MCU with actual canon stories instead of doing this. And I know they're weaving in the multiverse a little bit, and we'll probably get Captain Carter and Secret Wars and maybe some other characters. But I would rather gaps. I would love to have like a Captain America World War II cartoon with the invaders, with the android Human Torch, Namor, and a few other, Bucky, Toro, and those other things, and fill in some gaps in World War II that we didn't see. Or, have some times during the blip,
I don't think any of these versions of these characters matter in the larger MCU. Like, they were telling us that, well, before you go see Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, you have to watch What If. You have to know who Strange Supreme is. And it's like, no, you didn't actually. Because the evil Doctor Strange that we saw in Multiverse of Madness was not Strange Supreme. He happened to be another bad Doctor Strange, but he wasn't the same one from What If.
Yeah.
So it's like, you really didn't need to watch it.
We got the zombie though. We got the Doctor Strange zombie.
Yeah, but again, it still wasn't the zombies from What If. It was like the idea was present.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, the zombies come back in the last episode of the season 2.
What was the last one you watched? What was the last one you watched, Dave? Was it Kahori reshapes the world, or was it Captain Carter fought the Hydra Stomper?
Captain Carter. And Captain Carter one.
So I will say this about the Kahori episode. The entire thing is in a mix of the Mohawk language, Native American language, and Spanish. If you don't want to read the subtitles, if you go under extras, they do have the entire thing dubbed in English. So if you haven't seen it yet and you do want to watch it in English, you can watch it that way. If you don't want to read the subtitles.
We're dubs over subs here. No, we're subs over dubs.
I was about to say, I'm like, really?
That's what Sierra told us to do.
That's right.
But I mean, either way, I thought it was an interesting idea. So that's one of the few what ifs that I wouldn't have considered. So I am glad that they did turn that into an episode, because I wouldn't have thought about that. What would happen if, Ragnarok happened and kind of cracked one of the Infinity Stones, and then its power happened to leak into a lake? So like, I was like, oh wow, okay, so that could have some serious. This is like an almost bigger thing than what happened to Captain Marvel. Like with her, she was blasted by the Tesseract. She was blasted by it, but the Tesseract was cracked. The Space Stone was cracked, and its powers were leaking into this lake over several years, several hundreds of years. And then, like, it essentially, anybody who took a dip in the lake were granted powers like Captain Marvel.
Well,
And
it
it
was a
was
little
a
different
very
than
interesting
Captain.
look to it.
Yeah, it teleported them to
A little
another
bit
area,
different,
and
yeah.
they had those things. It was, and it was
But they had
good because everyone who was there
telepathic
was like, "Oh,
powers, and they could,
we've been gifted, and this is
yeah.
this thing in the sky,
It
and
was
we don't want to go
it was
back."
like they were creating mutants in a way.
Yeah, almost.
Only they all had like the same kind of powers.
And honestly, I'll probably get killed in the chat for this. I hope Kahori comes back.
I do too. She was a very interesting character.
Something
I
new,
reserve my judgment on that. I haven't
and
seen it.
and you probably should until you've seen it
And
100%.
okay, I will say this: you can light your torches, grab your pitchforks. I don't really care. For all the people that are saying she was a new character, she wasn't an original character from the comics, guys, chill. Every comic book character was new at some point. Just because you didn't read about her in a comic at some point doesn't mean that she shouldn't exist.
Deadpool didn't
Just
exist
a
till
new character.
1990, I think.
The version of Star-Lord that we see in Guardians of the Galaxy, the movie, is not the Star-Lord from the comics, thank God. Star-Lord from the comics is kind of a killjoy. Like, I find him unreadable.
It's so tough to read the Guardians comics when
Mm-hmm.
they have Peter Quill that way. It's tough.
So, yeah, you know what? I don't care. Give us a new character. I'm fine
Sometimes
with it.
changes are good. Sometimes changes
When
away
was
from the
Harley
source
Quinn
material are good.
What's that, Dave?
I said, when was Harley Quinn created? Mid 90s,
90s,
and she was
yeah.
created for an animated
Or the
series.
animated series, that's right.
Yep.
She did not exist in the comics before that. And now every, fucking girl dresses up like her at some point.
Yep. So just give it time, man.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Keith, I'm sorry, your daughter's probably going to be Harley Quinn one day.
That's what I was just thinking about. I'm like, how do I stop that?
Dad, I got a baseball bat for my costume. No, you didn't.
Oh, you're for a league of their own, right?
I'm going as Rosie O'Donnell from A League of Your Own. Oh, you know what? You can be Harley Quinn.
On second thought, it's okay.
But yeah, so overall, I'd say with this season of What If, I think overall, I'd say I liked most of these episodes a little bit more than I did season one. Season one of What If, it was very hit or miss. But I'd say out of the entirety of, What If season one, I'd say there were maybe 3, maybe 4 ones that I was like, oh, that was really good. And I'd say with this one, there was maybe 4 or 5 that I was like, oh, that was pretty good. I would watch that again. But it was fine. I think that's a good way to put What If. It was fine.
Yeah.
And it was a good palate cleanser from what else we had to watch. So,
And I honestly want to watch some of these episodes again, further away from the double deuce of Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom and Rebel Moon. Because sometimes when you've watched something so terrible that it doesn't even rate on the Doug scale,
yeah,
anything looks good. Like I think I probably could have watched what's something I could have watched
Or
The
The
Big
Dark
Bang
World.
Theory and would have been like, wow, this is a lot better than I remember. But I agree with you, Doug.
These two movies were like we got potato sacked by Chuck Norris.
Yeah.
I would have preferred that because I could at least take a bite out of a potato.
But
you're wrong. You're so wrong.
Definitely better than season one by a little bit. Even though I kind of liked Infinity Ultron.
Yeah, that one
as
was
the
a good
villain
one.
at the end of season one, a little better than I kind of liked, and I won't spoil the kind of villain at the end of this.
The title gives it away.
I know, and it was that was not executed well at all. Like,
No,
nobody
because
did not see that coming.
Goes against the development that existed in season one.
Yeah,
I thought that was kind of dumb. I was very disappointed at the route that went.
Me too. And then I was even, rushing to save everybody, and I was just like, this is just.
Yeah.
They're like, we have to we have to do better than last season, so let's do this. They could have scaled it down quite a bit and made a much more interesting story, but it felt like they were compelled to try to one up, the season 1 villain, and it just felt kind of flat.
The other thing that I don't understand about this, and it was a comment that we had made back when The Mandalorian first came out. One of the things that I appreciated about that is when it came to The Mandalorian, they told the story that needed to be told, whether it was a 30-minute episode or a 50-minute episode. Like, you couldn't guarantee how long the episode was going to be because they based the time of the episode on how much time they needed for the story.
Yep.
And I wish more things that are going to be on a streaming service, I wish they stuck to that rule. If you have no intention on releasing this on regular TV and you don't have to fit it in with commercial breaks and things like that, then give yourself some extra time. If you've got, a good, decent story that you want to tell, give it a little extra time. I think some of these episodes of What If would have done better if they would have made them a 40-minute episode or something.
I noticed every episode was the exact same time amount. So it seemed like this episode needs to be this. Some of them probably could have been a little shorter, and a few of them could have been a little longer, and it would have made for an overall better season.
I could think if they would have let the initial episode with Nebula breathe a little bit.
It needed it. Because that one was so rushed.
It did feel rushed, and it could have been good.
It's like there will be no filler space in an episode. Whether it's, like you're reading a book, right? There's some chapters that are like 5 pages long. You know what I mean? And then some chapters that are like 40 pages, something like that. Yeah. That's how it should be when you're making a show. Just tell the story that needs to be told.
That's funny that you bring that up. There's a couple of Stephen King books where there's a chapter that's a single page long. And it's literally just to get out a sentence. It'll be like, she awoke. She was still chained to the bed. The wolf grew closer to the door. Chapter 6.
Yeah. And you know what? That's fine with me. As long as you're getting your point across. You don't have to fluff it up. You don't have to make it extra long. Just get to the point. That's my TED Talk for this week. And my name is Dave.
Dave,
Thank you,
I'd
Dave.
pay to hear that again. That was a great TED Talk.
Thanks.
I'll just watch it again on the video later. I'm not going to pay you.
Right.
I'm going to turn an ad blocker on.
If you're not paying attention, you might miss it.
Well, I think that about wraps us up for the week. And I don't know, Sierra, if you're still out there. What?
Did we want to give a number rating?
Oh, we probably should. We probably should.
I haven't seen the whole season, so only you guys can do it.
Well, you can rate what you've seen so far.
Okay.
I think overall, well, there was some, very good episodes. There was some average episodes. Nothing was great per se. I mean, Hela being the one closest to that, nothing was bad. Some things were forced. I'm gonna give it a 6.2 for the overall season. And I don't know if you guys have seen this. I tagged you guys on Twitter, but I don't think either one of you are on social media that much. They already have a stinger for season 3.
Oh no, I didn't know that.
What if the Red Guardian? What is it? What if the Red Guardian killed the Winter Soldier, or what? Let me find it. What if Red Guardian stopped the Winter Soldier?
Oh.
I don't know if it means stopped him from killing Stark's parents, or what.
The Red Guardian, as in the Russian Captain America?
Yeah.
Huh. Okay. I thought they were kind of on the same side for a while.
David Harbour?
Yeah, David Harbour. But there's been rumors that season 3 is almost completed and that it may drop this year. And seeing that little stinger...
I mean, there's plenty of empty space, so...
Yep. So we may get that.
Now, when you say stinger, is it like, is there any sort of video component to it, or...
Oh, yeah. It's a whole scene.
Oh, wow. All right. Cool. I'll have to, unfortunately, go on X and check it out.
I gotta say, from what I've seen, I'm just gonna give it a 5 because just everything I've seen is about average. And
Hmm.
what was I gonna say about that? Something just said. My ADHD kicking in, man. I had a thought and it just went away.
Something about the season? About What If in general? About David Harbour?
Oh yeah. Something about Keith
Billy
was
Bobby
saying that
Brown.
gonna be another season.
Oh,
And
hmm.
I
It'll
just
come
don't
to you.
know. It'll come to me. I'll just raise my hand. We'll just go for you to giving your rating there, Doug.
So I got to give it a 5 too. Nothing really other than I'd say the Hela episode, but there were so many other episodes that were just kind of they existed, they were there. So that I think it kind of just averages the whole thing out that it was fine. It was a good it was a decent enough watch. It wasn't terrible, but nothing was really great. Nothing really jumped out at me and said this is exceptional TV. It was on. It was
Did it
better
keep
than
your
the
attention?
alternatives. And I will say that it was good enough that I did remember to watch each episode as it came out, you know? Even when I had like a free moment on Christmas Day in between, visiting family members and stuff, I was like, I'm just sitting here. I'll turn on Disney Plus and I'll watch What If. And then, I mean, I really have to go to YouTube and watch Screen Crush because I don't know what I'm going to do if I don't watch a Screen Crush breakdown of the episode that just aired today on Christmas Day. I'm sorry, I was making fun of Screen Crush because they're
Yes,
ridiculous.
yes, we know.
Well, Ryan Airy really hasn't been on there lately, has he? I haven't seen. I've seen other people on there.
Yeah, he actually he made a whole video about that. And it was almost like he was mad at Disney Plus for releasing episodes when they did, which like I guess I would question it. I think I would be, if I was just the average viewer, I'd be like, "Oh, that's kind of a weird release schedule." But he seemed visibly upset and angry at how they were releasing the What If episodes because it affected his video output. And that was like his main thing. I'm going to have to bring on other staff and they're going to have to make the videos because I'm not going to be available. And it's like, do you
Hey,
have to?
okay, buddy, whatever you got to do. If you don't even want to have a show, that's fine too.
So like he made a whole video that he released on his channel talking about how he's gonna have whatever the dude's name is, and he don't worry, don't worry, he's gonna break down the episodes so that way you'll have your episodes and your Easter eggs and bullshit on Chris. It's like nobody cared, man.
Yeah,
And he
like
stops.
I know the Phase Zero was like, well, we're gonna do it in chunks.
Yeah,
It's Christmas.
yeah.
You know what? They released it this way. It was just like when Paul from Heavy Spoilers when they changed
Mhm.
the release time for like Loki and Ahsoka
Oh
to
yeah.
9 p.m. and it was no longer like early. It was a
Mhm.
lot harder for him to do it.
This is gonna be hard for me.
He was like, man, this kind of sucks, but hey, I know I make YouTube videos for a living. I, I'm just mad about this.
Right. At least he was honest about it.
Yep. And I just want to let you guys know that this is for Tack on Show and Sierra out there. What if Red Guardian stopped the Winter Soldier is also a male-led What If episode.
Oh, good. A good strong
Who else will
male.
be in there? Who else could be in there? Black Widow?
Black
No.
Widow.
Red Guardian's a girl now.
Agent Carter could be on there.
Well, who? Oh, Bill Foster's in it though. He seems to.
Foster?
I don't know how he works into it, but I think that was Bill Foster in the clip.
Okay.
How would he work into that? That's interesting.
He likes they're basically driving together, and they come up to a stop, and I think they're looking for the Winter Soldier. I think, like they're aware and they're trying to find him, and it sounded like Bill Foster to me, but I don't know that for sure. I'm not as good as some of you guys picking out voices in animated things. But then they kind of break away from there. But it looks like the Red Guardian and Winter Soldier are working together, in some capacity.
Hey fellow nerds, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you want to see more of this stuff, make sure that you check out our Twitch stream. We try to do these live Sunday or Monday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Keep an eye on our social media to find out when you can join in live and chat with us during these live streams. Also, as usual, don't forget to check out our other social media. Add us at Twitter, comment down below, and we'll see you next time right here on Not Your Status Quo.